What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another SLA video. All right, folks, we have ourselves probably one of the most important videos for the community ever made. So before I even start the video, two things I want to say. Number one, what we're about to show you is not a third-party program, has nothing to do with Marble, nor is it something that invades your game or goes into your game files or anything like that. This is a program made by one user, perhaps more, but I know for certain it's MEGAKRTL from our Discord, so shout out to him. He's also part of one of the Payne's guilds, which is the Zeus guild, and he has done the community a service that is above and beyond what I'd ever expect. So with me right now I have my Payne's Angels leader, Holy Hell. So you guys know him as Ryan sometimes. So Ryan, very exciting. So Ryan actually is the original guinea pig for this program, and he's actually got it down to a T. This is my first time actually looking at this, and what we're gonna do, guys, is gonna blow your minds. We're gonna show you guys how to essentially, and Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, optimize your gear like never before, and perhaps allow you to use gear that you never thought would be useful and actually make it better than what you might have on. So I think the way we're gonna do this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, sorry, I think my volume was a little bit low, but we'll go up from here. I think what we're gonna do right here is we're gonna walk me through as the next guinea pig. You're gonna essentially explain to me how this works. We're gonna show people the site, and then we're gonna walk me through what we're gonna do. I guess a curse and expert set, is that what we're gonna start with?
Yeah, you can do a curse and expert set, and then we can look at it on yours, and I can show you some different examples on mine. Because one of the coolest things about this is that you can set it up for how the meta is right now, but in a month, 2 months, when we go back to using more damage pen, you just pop back on this, put in the stats that you want to change to, and you already know what gear you need to look for. You don't need to test things out, enhance things. It can do it all for you.
Perfect. So not only is this going to be a time saver, but it's going to be a resource saver, because no longer, like you said, are you guessing. You're going to actually be able to know what's the best optimal setup for your actual characters, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so let's dive right into it, guys. We're going to jump into this, and we're going to show you guys exactly what we're talking about. So again, it is a site, and we will show you guys this site in the description. As we're walking you through it, we're going to explain to you how this whole thing works. All right, so this is the actual site here. Now, again, I want to say a big shout out to MEGAKRTL for creating this, and we're gonna let Ryan walk us through this. So Ryan, why don't you go ahead and start off? What's the first step that somebody wants to do in order to use this?
So the first thing we need to do is actually create our artifact list. So this is the one and only part about this program that really sucks. And I say program, really just a website. You have to upload an image and or manually type in your stats for every single piece you want it to look through. So I can tell you, having done it myself, that it can take some time. I would suggest you do this by artifact sets at a time. But once you get it set up, the upkeep is just adding an artifact whenever you level 1 up to 20. So the first thing we're going to do, go to manage artifacts. This would be where you have your list of artifacts. You can look through these, and you hit add artifact.
Okay, add artifact.
And this is where you can either manually type in the stats. You can select the artifact set it is, the slot it's in, and the stat, both advancements and the stat type and the numbers. Or a simpler method is to take a screenshot of the game, of your screen. And so he's got one up here, and you can use this with the snipping tool. And depending on your resolution, the results may vary on how accurate it is. So if you have some issues with this, you can either change your resolution to try and get it to read better, or you can take a snippet of just the stat portion for it to try and read. Right. But Payne's got a snippet of his screen here. You can just paste that in. You don't have to save it out, load it up. It immediately reads out everything about it. I still recommend you take the 5 seconds to double check everything. But that's it. You do this for all your pieces and create your artifact list.
So let's go ahead and do that. So just to show people how this works, like, and you guys can see MEGAKRTL had put in here, Control V is experimental, and in this case the experiment actually works. So Ryan, like Ryan said, 1840, right? 3227, the plus twos are all there, 3653, so that maps up 517, 146. So it's a matter of a couple seconds, guys, and that one is done. So what, holy hells, what do we do next? Do we add and keep on or keep open, or do we just add? What's the next step?
Personally, I do it as just add, and the only reason is that it keeps my place. I know if I've added this artifact or not. because I don't want to create duplicates.
Gotcha.
One of the things I'm going to work on with Mega is we're going to that we're making a list of improvements. So we may add like a duplicate feature, that kind of a warning or something. But
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, one.
Yeah, so just so everyone's aware, when you're doing this, if you plan to use this, you go to the artifacts page, find yourself your next artifact. So I'm going to use body next, obviously. So I have this crit and defense pen one. Let's just say this is for Sun Jinwoo, right? I currently have this on him, but let's say I want to check this one in comparison. So let's go ahead and take this one, and I'll go. And also, I think we should mention this. You mentioned it to me already, that enchantments are not utilized in this program yet, correct?
Yeah, so why don't you do one that actually is enchanted? So if you want to do Chaws, just as a reference, this will be a good example. Because part of the benefit of this is you want to compare everything apples to apples, and you're not going to want to spend your resources enhancing every piece to see if it's actually better or not. And so what this program does is it actually calculates off the base values, and then it'll calculate with maximum enchantments, because everyone's really hoping for max enchantments, or you work towards that.
Right.
But it'll do that so that you know which gear is going to get you where you want to go if you max out the enchantments.
Okay.
So before you hit add, so you can actually hit that show recognize text button.
Okay.
And if you scroll down, it'll actually show you what it's reading. So if you don't want to look at the numbers and kind of do the quick math in your head to see if it looks right, you can actually compare the two, and if it's the exact same, then it captured everything correctly.
Look at that. Wow. Yo, this is better quality than what Netmarble makes. There's no bugs in this yet. This is incredible. Netmarble should be hiring a MEGAKRTL of this shit. This is wild.
This is pretty crazy.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. I'm thoroughly impressed by this. This is wild. Okay, so let me just one more here. We'll take Miri's actually, because hers is pretty good.
Over at the gem, go to the gems tab. Sure. So we can just show this as a thing. Scroll down. There you go. Okay. So this is where you can actually put in the exact gems that you have.
Okay.
And not that you need to do this right now. It's a little tedious. It doesn't take that long, but this will give you a more accurate representation of what's going to show.
Okay.
Obviously, having the different amounts is going to show better or worse. So this is helpful as well when you're trying to get an accurate statement. So
for sure.
But you can go to optimize. Okay. So this is where you can actually determine what you're looking for.
Okay.
So you can select where it says Sung Jinwoo. You can pick a hunter. You can pick over on the left.
On the left. Right here.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so you can select for whatever hunter you're doing this for, because you can actually save these gear sets on that hunter, so that they won't be used towards someone else that you're calculating for.
Gotcha.
So you really are creating a website version of your gear and your hunters.
So question for you.
Yeah.
This is not all the hunters. Where are the rest of the hunters?
He hasn't added all of them yet.
Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha.
So he's still working on those. He's added pretty much everybody that's more or less meta right now.
I see.
But he's still working on adding the rest.
Okay. Fair enough.
So you also got another drop down there for Sung Jinwoo for different stat options.
Right.
And at the end of the day, this isn't a huge difference, because you can always match the number on your game if you want to compare.
Right.
But still, it's just more information. So you could set it to max strength just for now.
Right.
So when you're doing this, you actually can set the values that you're looking for in that required tab. So on the right, so you can put in, if we're specifically, we focus on crit rate, crit damage, damage pen increase, all the way down to MP consumption reduction.
Right.
If you're building Sung Jinwoo for a wind environment, you want to look through the wind stuff, your bracelets, you can put a value in there, so that it makes sure that it grabs a wind bracelet. Okay. In your case, you did a dark one. So you don't even need to fill this out, because you only have one set of gear.
Right.
I'll show that portion in a bit. Okay. So over on the right, this is where you're picking your pieces.
Okay.
So it gives you all that optimization. And then here's where the enhancements that I was talking about. You see that little toggle that says no enchantments or maxed enchantments?
Right over here. Yes.
So if you set max enchantments, which I would recommend you do,
Okay.
is that it is going to calculate every piece of gear at max enchantments.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's assuming that you can spend the resources when you get a chance
Right.
to upgrade those pieces.
Right. Now, just so before we go any further, just so people understand, this is not meant to be you having one piece and one piece only. You're supposed to have multiple of the same Burning Curse pieces to compare to, correct?
Yeah,
Of course.
You,
Of course.
you want options
Of
because
course.
this is gonna search through all of your options
Absolutely.
to create the best version of what you got.
Right. That's right. So if you're looking for helmets, Ryan, for example, and you have 5 helmets on there, it's going to tell you the best helmet for him that you have out of those 5.
Well, it's gonna tell you all 8 slots.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I'm just saying though. But if somebody was specifically looking just for helmets for the just experiment, let's just say they want to put just the helmets for now. Will it just look at the helmets section, or will it require you to put all the pieces in first?
Well, so as you have it now, we've set no requirements. You only have one set of gear to pull from. So go ahead and hit optimize.
Okay.
So it's going to pull what it has
Right.
because you've set no requirements.
Right.
But it pulled down what you have. It put what what cores you could have. You can change the level on them if you do, but it spits out your stats.
Oh, okay. Right here, it shows you all in green. Oh, that's so dope.
This tells you everything about it, and then it actually compares based on what you had previously.
Right.
So you can change your cores here. If you scroll up just a little bit, you can change the level on them.
15, okay.
And whether they're flat or percent.
This is crazy, man. The level of detail on this is wild. So let me go to 15 for a sec. Holy jeez, look at this, guys. This is nuts.
So you can actually, if you don't have certain cores, you can select the cores that you do have at level 15 or 10.
Right.
And lock and hit that lock button.
Okay.
And you can then re-optimize again, knowing that those are now locked. And it potentially might change your gear.
Right.
Based on what parameters you've set for these stats.
That's crazy. That's amazing. And here you can also change them to level 110, and that should also technically change the stats. Is that correct? Or
So adding your weapon levels for Sung Jin Woo will add to your attack.
HP and defense, of course, because that's what they affect, right? So interesting. Okay. Now, question for you, and I noticed that there's perception here, but I noticed that there's no perception build in here. Is that assuming that gems are the things covering perception and dupes?
It's more that that isn't necessarily the biggest focus on this.
Gotcha.
You can still set
the precision
your precision requirements, but you don't get that on your gear. So
that's fair.
It doesn't make a huge difference.
That's fair. Okay, no, that's fair. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, perfect. That looks amazing. All right, and then we have an Intuit option here, and this is kind of cool because it actually tells you like which the requirements are, legendary, heroic, etc. And it actually does it affect your? It does affect your attack. Look at this, guys. Yeah. This is incredible.
So if you add all your gems, right, and you have attack percent gems, which affect Intuit as well. It'll actually do all of that math to spit out what you're actually looking at.
That's really cool. That is so dope. Okay, so this is incredible, guys. All right, so this is essentially how you do it. Now, of course, like you mentioned, putting time into this is going to just make this a better tool for anybody, right? So adding in the gems, understanding your cores, putting in multiple sets that you want to compare to, that's what's really going to make the difference. Now, obviously, you have this set up pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, so I've done almost all of my main DPS stuff. I've done Curse, Expert, Toughness, One Hit Kill, and Obsidian, I think, right now.
All right, guys, back in here now. We got Ryan's stream running. We got all of his sets. Now, this is his setup. And Ryan, I want you to just walk us through what you did and explain exactly how the setup is and how people can benefit with the way you set it up.
Yeah, so what I've got in front of me is the most recent optimization I did for my Sung Jin Woo. And so I'll walk through literally how I set this up, choosing some stats. So you see here, I did make percentages visible. So normally it doesn't show that, so it gives you a baseline, and you can set the required to show. So if you're playing with what these numbers are, it'll give you a visual representation as to what you're seeing in the game.
That's amazing.
So that's pretty helpful. But I know we've talked about this before. You've put videos out on it. We're looking for about 9,000 crit right now.
Mhm.
Kind of as a standard, I'm looking for about 200% crit damage.
Right.
And right now, the meta is, at least on Guild Boss, is very heavily towards damage increase.
Right.
So there's no damage defense penetration needed at all. And so this is kind of where I settled, as was going to give me the best result. And you can play with this. So if I'm trying to get a little bit more, I can set that number even higher. If I wanted to get closer to 40,
Right.
I could do that. And here you can see I want a dark bracelet. So I set the value to 10 so that I'm getting a dark bracelet that gets picked.
So real quick before you go any further, just so we can dummy proof this even more. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. The reason why you're putting the stats that you want is because you want the optimization to look for those specific stats and then optimize the best gear you have that can make those stats happen. Correct?
Yeah. So what it's actually optimizing is getting a minimum of these stats. While over here you see this drop down, I'm maximizing my attack.
Gotcha.
And so if I was doing this for Thomas,
right,
or Go Gunhee, I would change this to defense.
Correct.
And so I want to maximize getting as much defend or attack as possible.
Right.
And so you can see right here, all these drop downs. This is the gear that I currently have assigned to Sung Jin-woo.
Okay.
And these are the cores that I'm currently using.
Gotcha.
If I just want to see what gear I would have to change to get to 40% damage increase, I can hit optimize, and it'll tell me that I need to take this from Cha, this from Cha, and it tells me down here what changed.
Oh, sweet.
I can compare, what this stat actually changed. I noticed that I think I had like 45,000 attack before, and so I lose a little bit of attack to gain that damage increase.
Right.
So it gives you some options to compare, but probably the bigger effect is going to be when the meta changes,
Right.
and instead we go down to let's pick something more realistic.
Yeah, let's do 20% or something.
Yeah.
Like,
So
achievable.
we want to go back to a balance
Right.
of pen and increase.
Right.
Well, I can do that, and now it's almost everything's changed. These
Right,
pieces
wow.
I wasn't even using. There's 3 pieces that aren't even assigned to anybody right now,
Okay.
and then this piece Bora has.
Right.
And then you can see how that affects my stats down here. And I can always undo these cores and do it again and see if that changes anything. And see it changed one of them to crit damage.
Right. Right.
So now I can lock these and see if that's still necessary. Yeah, so it still wants me to keep that crit damage.
Right.
So there's a lot of play that you can do with this, and I did that so much faster than if I was to do this in the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you'd be scrolling through so many different pieces of articles and filtering and all this bullshit that you need to do. Yeah, that's crazy, guys. That is insane, dude. So because you were the original guinea pig for this, obviously we're going to assume it took you quite some time to do this. So let's say the average user, now that they have somewhat of a tutorial, how long would do you think it would take to set up, let's say, 2 units? Like, do you have a time frame, a reference?
Well, the only part that takes time is the uploading your artifacts. So you can see I've uploaded 6 pages worth of artifacts. That part took me, now granted, I was the guinea pig, so there was some testing we were doing on how to do that. But it took me probably 4 to 5 hours to do all of those sets.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably do that again now in probably about half the time.
Yeah.
Just with the things we've learned. So there is a little bit of a time investment at the start. But man, when I say that you're going to save that time down the road, you are definitely going to save that time down the road.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's like anything else, right? The more time you put into something, the more optimized you become, and including this program or this website, it's going to be a time saver in the future. Not only did we talk about time saver, but we also discussed how much resources it would save as well, right? Rather than, relying on guessing, now you can save your armor chips and everything and know what the optimized gear is. And
I want to point out that one of the biggest things that I saw immediately was actually on my cores.
Right.
In terms of resources on cores,
Yeah.
how much, we don't, you didn't know what cores you needed to use.
Right. Right.
And so what I ended up having to do, pull this back up real quick, was that I had a crit rate core originally before I used this. And I didn't realize, I change these to what I'm actually using now, that I would have been able to still meet my crit rate with different gear.
Right.
And so it actually changed how I did this.
Right.
I completely leveled, I think it was 2 different cores I leveled, and changed gear all around. And I ended up on Sung Jin Woo, who was my second priority behind Kane. I gained about, I think it was like 6 or 7% damage increase and 6,000 attack.
Gotcha. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible, man. This is mind blowing, guys. If you guys, if anything, I would suggest everybody in the community, especially for veteran players, even new players, this is a great tool to start using right away, because you'll, number one, you'll understand the game more, and you'll understand more of how stats work and what is considered optimization. Like, we can guess things, of course, and we can test, but this takes away all that guesswork.
Yeah.
Right.
One extra step I wanted to mention on this is, once you pick a set that you say, yes, I'm equipping this on this person, you can hit this little hand and it'll assign that to the person. So now I've got this set assigned to him, and they've got he's got this awesome little set priority feature. So typically when you're using Curse and Expert, we've got like 6 different people that use it.
Right.
And so you can set an order of who you want to have the highest priority all the way down to the least.
Right.
And so when Sung Jin Woo is looking for gear, he's only going to look at the people below him.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anything that's unassigned and anything of the people below him, he won't try to take any gear from Kane.
I see that. That's amazing. That's so cool. That's so smart. Now, we did, speaking of Kane, we did talk, I don't know if we talked about this on stream or not, or on the video or not, but can you just show people real quick, if they, for example, Kane who uses 2 and 2 pieces, how do you set that?
Oh, yeah. So we'll go to her just as an example. So when you set this, you've got two scroll downs or drop downs for pieces on each side. So you've got your armor on the left and your accessories on the right.
Right.
So if you're using a 4-piece, then you would select the one you're using at the top, and then the using 4 pieces of the above set.
Right.
If you want to do 2-piece, then I would swap this for 1-hit kill.
Right, and it changes it to 2-piece.
And it changes it to doing 2-piece.
There you go. I wanted to make that clear because I know you and I discussed that. I wasn't sure if we talked about it in the video, but I think that's important because a lot of people are now, like Kane is a huge, like the biggest DPS we have, and that's the best gear for her. So definitely, guys, use this feature. It'll help you out a lot.
Well, I'll mention, another one that we've been doing that recently as an option is Thomas.
Right.
So because of the CP, trying to have Kane with a really high CP, Thomas was a common offender of being higher CP. Right. And so what we found is that we can give him 2-piece toughness.
Right.
And it actually gave him about the same damage at 20,000 less CP. So you can test that here without having to, swap everything around.
And I've been dealing with that so much because my gun, he's so much higher than my Thomas, because my Thomas uses 4-piece armed for Deimos, for example, just for the first fight. And it's been a nightmare to have to reshuffle everything on a constant basis when we don't have, the right pieces in place. So this is going to be a time saver for anybody who does that as well too.
It's been pretty amazing. It's helped me on everybody I've done it for so far.
Perfect. Okay, I think this is a great place to stop. We've given a lot of information. We've done 30 minutes worth of information here. So what I'm going to recommend, Ryan, especially for us, is I would say we're going to put the link in the description, guys. So please go check out the site. First off, big W's to MEGAKRTL and obviously Holy Hells for coming in and doing the tutorial with us. If you guys have any questions, who do they contact? Do they just experiment, or should they contact somebody in our guild? Do they go to MEGAKRTL? Like, what's the process here for anyone who really wants to invest? Or if anybody who's like an expert at programming, does MEGAKRTL need help? Do they contact him? Like, what's the process here?
Well, the easiest way would be come to the server. We've
Yeah.
actually got this tool listed in under a thread in our testing server or testing thread on your
Right.
Discord server.
Yep, exactly. So you guys can, the link is in every single description, guys, for the Discord. The only thing we require, and this is what stops a lot of people from joining, is verification that you're a real human, not a bot. So put in your phone number. We don't collect that information. I know I don't want to call you guys. That's a Discord thing for security purposes. And like Ryan said, it's in our testing section of our Discord. Grab the roles and then jump on. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the developer of this, as well as myself or Holy Hells or anybody that has, taken advantage of this, and we're more likely to help you there than anywhere else.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. First off, Ryan, thank you so much for your time, bro. And you introduced this to me today, and I was fucking blown away. I had no idea what to expect. This is beyond my expectations. So shout out to you, first off, for doing this. So thank you so much for your time. And if you get a hold of MEGAKRTL, give him a big hug, virtual hug for me for doing this. This is huge for the community.
Absolutely. No, I definitely will. He's I'll say the same thing. He showed this to me a while ago and told me about the initial time investment, and I just didn't get around to it right away because I didn't see it until I started messing with it, and I thought, man, this is massive.
100%.
So
100%.
big kudos to him, and I'm glad we're able to share this with everybody.
Yeah,
because it's going to be a big help for sure.
I agree. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this video out right now. So hopefully people can just start using it right away. And hopefully a lot of you guys, please, in the comment section, give big W's to Ryan, Holy Hells, and give big W's to MEGAKRTL for obviously doing this. And I hope you guys all enjoy this program. This takes obviously a lot of work to do for the person who created it. And you know what? Take the time to do this because it will save you time in the future. It's an investment in your game, it's an investment in yourself, and it's an investment in your character. So without further ado, guys, thank you, Ryan, so much for joining, man. We're going to end this video here. But guys, please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and again, big W's to the two guys who put all this together for us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure.